I think that's all. So let me go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for your patience. So, welcome to the Arrogant Witch channel. I am Witch Naima, and today's topic is motivated by my email community, and it's about more than enough. It's about more than enough. So, today is going to be it's different. Typically I'm here for those of you who are here for the first time. Thank you for the hearts. I'm typically on a Monday. I'm on my YouTube channel every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, kind of trippy that I constantly am remembering. So every Monday I'm here, and this channel is really dedicated to supernatural folk. Hi. Supernatural folk who are really hungry to be all of who they are in a world that has a hum of mediocrity, a hum of fitting in, and there's constant lulls, constant invitations to lull us into less than. I love that purple heart too. To lull us into less than, and to lull us into mediocrity, right? And so my email community is people who have chosen to stay in communication with me via email. They've sent me their email. They open my emails. They make investments with me to transform their lives. They reply to my emails. They let me know what's going on in their world. I love the hearts, just so you know. I wish you guys could give me hearts while I was live on YouTube. But you could give me hearts just by sharing the video, liking the video, commenting the video, and that also helps the algorithms. Okay, let me focus here. So this topic, how did I come with this topic today of more than enough? So I am constantly inquiring with my email community to find out what's relevant and important and that would really change their life now, okay? And I sent out several emails this week, and the overwhelming feedback that I got was this desire to come into the language I used was coming into the being and the thinking of a six-figure mentor, coach, healer, or other service provider. Just like the being, though, like the thinking and the being, like what's really required of you on the inside. Expanding your mind on the inside, your way of being on the inside, so that it becomes normal to create plenty of money in your world. It becomes normal to receive it. It becomes normal to be in possession of it. It becomes normal to talk about it. It becomes normal to manage it. And you're not constantly in a state of avoidance or shock or fear when it comes to money, and that instead there's a willingness to really expand and come into healthy relationship with money and conversation with money and having it and the way you interact with it and the feelings you get when you see it, or the feelings you get when it's time to invest, the feelings that you get when it's time to call it in, or someone wants to talk to you about money, like really getting into harmony and comfort in this domain. So I'm really excited about this topic. I have a beautiful offer. Please know, there's so much more. Like, this is one thing that we're getting into today. This offer is one offer. The offer is not going to be offered again. This is the one time that I'm making this offer. And this topic of more than enough, I'm going to be talking about it more and more in different ways because it's just so relevant. And okay, so you guys know I get long-winded with these excited topics. So let me dial it back. So more than enough. So first of all, so toward the end of our time here together today, I'm going to talk more about the offer that I will talk a bit about while I'm here today, okay? The link is beneath the video here on YouTube to go check out testimonials, the modules. That's another thing I meant to put here, but I'll put it here when I'm done here. The 8-week modules that I'm going to be facilitating you through over 8 weeks. And then the link is in my bio on IG. For those of you who like to check it out, it's called More Than Enough. And so when I came into the transformation industry, coaching, okay, I was like most of us. I just wanted to help people, right? Like how many of you just want to help people? Like, you're meant to help people, you're a healer, you're meant to serve, and all you know is you just want to help people. And I came in just like that. That's like the normal way, right? And then we start, well, for those of us who do, start to really get into the business of helping people, like as a business. Like it's one thing to do it as a hobby, which is totally fine, right? As a hobby. And then there's like, this is how I pay my mortgage. This is how I take care of my kids. This is how I live my life, is by helping people heal. And I'm in the business of helping people heal, have better marriages, increase their confidence and self-esteem, help new mothers lose baby weight. I help Black men come into full power. I help, I'm a doula who helps women give, beautiful, divine home births, like, right? Whatever your thing is, that you decide that you're in the business of that and not the hobby of that, right? And for most of us, and I'll speak for myself, I had no idea that I had a relationship with money. I had no idea that I had what T. Harv Eker calls, and T. Harv Eker is the author of The Millionaire Next Door. You may have heard of him. He calls it a financial thermostat, which is your financial comfort zone. And so I do recommend that book. It's called The Millionaire Next Door, and the author is T. So T. Harv, Harv, Eker, Ecker. That's the author. And he talks about the financial comfort zone. And anytime you either go beneath that far or above that far, you have feelings, and you'll do everything in your power to get yourself back to your financial comfort zone, okay? And so what happens is, for those of us who have it in our hearts to serve, doula, another kind of healer. Me, when I first started with helping women be courageous, and then helping women heal sexual trauma, and then helping women entrepreneurs come into power with money, and now helping supernatural beings come out of fear and hiding, and come out onto the world stage. And really having a heart to do that for a living, it is a requirement. It's not an option, okay? And this week I've really been in close heart of so many women. I know how tender this topic is. I know the core that it touches. This touches us at core levels, okay? When you have it in your heart to really help people for real. And I tell you, you guys, I struggled for years because I just wanted to help. And I thought that's all it took, was just wanting to help people, just having a heart to help. And I thought that's all I needed. And that if I just kept getting on the phone with people and having calls, that somehow the money would come. And that if I just meant well, the money would come. And that if I, just kept going to networking events, the money would come. And that if I just kept going to free events and speaking to people and being excited and being positive and having a good heart and really wanting to help, that the money would come. I really thought that. And it wasn't until, because as you have heard, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I was getting so frustrated, because what happens, for those of you who have experienced this, and I know you have because I talked to you, you do start helping people, right? You start doing little, like you might do like a free workshop, or you just start getting on the phone with people who you know, or you start doing readings and divinations. And, maybe you would do a free doula situation for a friend, and you'll be like, just, maybe throw me a few dollars, you're kind of casual about it. Or, you're like, I didn't even think to charge, right? But people love it because it's valuable, right? Like the video. Hey, for those of you who have just come in, like the video. And maybe you start to do it more. And what happens is you start to feel depleted, right? You start to feel tired. Thank you for the hearts, Nakia. You start to feel tired, and right. And then you realize how much the money, you start like, you're not really sure what's going on. You just like, man, some part of you feels like you want to charge or charge more, depending on if you are or not charging. And you kind of like hang out there, it becomes a stuck thing. And it's like, what do you do? And so many people end up quitting because they don't know how to handle the money part, you know? It's in our heart to help, but because of the poor relationship that we have with money, but we don't know this, right? Unfortunately, we don't know that there's a relationship with money. We, especially for those of us who are raised in the church, it's like we feel bad for charging for like doula services, like something that's so lovely and godly and heartfelt, like doula services, like something in us feels like, this is so lovely, how dare I charge? Or I'm so gifted, how dare I charge for something that's so easy for me, that's in my heart and gifted, and like, and Jesus was poor, and like all these stories that a lot of us get wrapped up in when it comes time to really serve from our hearts. Like, I know personally what this looks like, and I remember specifically, you guys, I'm telling you, my heart is really tender today. Like the work I do, like I'm on the phone, video, like almost every day, all the time, working with women deeply, okay, very deeply. And so I have the privilege of like having a front seat in women's fear, like deep fears that they have never told anybody. I get a chance to hear things that they're saying out of their mouths for the first time, that they're just coming into awareness of, and they're like 35, 45, like these are grown women who are married with children, and they're coming into fears, right? And I get to be a part of that. And then I have my own experience, and I remember in 2012, I started working with people. Like I had started making money. Like at the end of 2011 is when I first started making money as a coach. And I remember this was before I found out about that we have a relationship with money, that we all have a comfort zone with money. And I was on the phone with this single mother in upstate New York. I remember this so distinctly because this event was the catalyst to me really starting to be like, what is going on here? What am I supposed to do? Because I genuinely didn't know. Okay. And we were on the phone for like 2 hours, you guys. And I was so pouring into this woman, and she was just eating it up. And she was just, a single mom, and really playing that story because she saw that I was buying it, and just really telling me about how hard and what she's going through. And I was taking her through all the pieces that I knew about courage and what I knew at that time about the mind and the power that we have. And she stayed on the phone because she was getting so much value. And by the end of that call, I just was like, I was so bought into her story, because there's always going to be somebody selling somebody. She had so enrolled me in her scarcity story that I was so like, yeah, I get it. I get why you are where you are. And like, not even realizing at the time that I was approving of her staying in the struggle. I was approving of her really holding tight to, I'm a single mom. Oh God, I can't. Woe is me. Don't you understand? This is why I struggle. This is why I cannot do more and have more, because it's so hard as a single mother. I mean, like, essentially, she enrolled me in that 2-hour conversation, and I was on the other end of it, like pouring into her. And when I would like try to get to like, okay, we're going to get to the money, I would constantly let her enroll me. See, this is what scarcity consciousness does. And we don't see it though. Like I didn't get that at the time. And I remember at the end of that call, you guys, being so exhausted. And she wasn't the first person I had been on the phone with, but she was the first person I had done it for 2 hours. And I remember I had to take a nap. I remember going to the bathroom, washing my hands because I felt so weighed down with her story. like buying her story, and like the way she was so like drenched in her own scarcity, and the way I took that on, because I'm empathic too, you know? Hi, 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 hi. Um, and I remember I took a nap. And I remember when I woke up, I was just like, I cannot do this. Like, what am I? And so, for those of you who have gone through your own frustrating moments and you're really ready for change, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I started to be like, what? Who is going to help me? I don't know what. And a woman named Monica Shaw came into my field. Monica Shaw. Monica Shaw, she might be Indian, she might be from Sri Lanka. I'm not really sure, but you can look her up on Facebook or Instagram or something. And she offered a money, I forgot something money, but she was a money coach at the time. And it was the first time I had ever heard of a money coach. And I was like, oh my God, right? And she was talking about all of us having a relationship with money. And I was ready. And she took us through this assignment that changed my world. And this is the exercise that I'm going to take you guys through inside of my 8-week program called More Than Enough. The link is with this video. And I'm giving you incentive. I'm going to give you something that you only can have when you sign up by midnight Eastern today. Okay? So stick around. I really want you to get what's available for you here, because you can do this. I am walking proof. My clients are walking proof. Like, I know I can't be sold the way that single mother did in 2012 who sold me on her scarcity story. Okay. You can do this. I guarantee you can do it. And I'm going to show you how. And with your commitment, you will do the same. Okay. So Monica Shaw took us deep and nuanced into finding the original story of when we as children, because we picked it up as a child, she took us through, I call it an origination story. She doesn't call it that, but that's how it is to me. The first time that you and I agreed to scarcity, we agreed, okay? And so let me tell you mine. So there's details in here, and I'm going to take you through it, right? But I'm going to give you some of it now. When I was younger, you guys know I'm into fashion. I always have been since I was a little girl. And I got super excited with MC Hammer. Remember MC Hammer? And his dancers called the 357 Girls. And for those of you who were fans, remember the 357 Girls had the holy jeans. They were the ones who made the holy jeans popular. Remember the here comes the hammer. Remember that video? And I'm from the Bay Area. So if y'all think MC Hammer was hot outside of the Bay Area, he was hot in the Bay Area. Like, he was that nigga, right? And so he was a cultural phenomenon here in the Bay Area. My aunt would come home in her holy jeans, and we would literally put on the MC Hammer video and dance, and she knew the moves, right? And so his dancers, the 357 Girls, they had these pointy toe, patent leather shoes with like satin ribbon, and I love them. And I remember I was like, Mom, I got to get these shoes. I got to get these shoes. And I don't remember exactly. I wasn't a teenager yet. I was young. I want to say I was under 10. I think, I can't really remember, but it was before the 8th grade, if I recall correctly. It was before the 8th, because I think I took them to 6th grade with me. Anyway, before I get long-winded. And so we went to go buy the shoes. And at the time, they had the original shoes that the 357 Girls were wearing, and they had the knockoffs. Hi, Rose. And they had the knockoffs. And my mom said something to me. This wasn't the first time she said it. It was just the first time that I, as a young person, agreed. Because for those of you who have small kids, you know, when they want something, they fight you on it, right? They keep asking, you tell them no, you give them reasons why no, and they keep coming, they keep. And that's how kids are. And then at some point, somebody's going to win. Either you're going to say, okay, as the parent, and give them what they want, or strike up some kind of negotiation, or the child is going to bend to your way and become more like whatever standard that you have in the house. And my mom's standard was, I'm not, she said to me after, and she has said this to me many times, and I always disagreed and kept pushing to get what I wanted. But in this particular time, it stuck with me and I agreed. And this is what you're going to find for yourself. When did you agree to scarcity for the first time? Okay. And then made it a habit to be scarce, because you're not born scarce. No child is born scarce, thinking scarce, being like, I don't know if I can have it. I can't afford it. That's not for me. Who am I to think? That is learned behavior. Okay. Thank you, Nakia. You're very, very welcome. And so we're here in front of these shoes. Just imagine, right? You're at the store, right? And they have the original 357 shoes, and the, like, you go to Target, right? And you want to buy, like, Curel is at Target is the more expensive lotion, right? Like Nivea, Curel, Lubriderm, right? So then they'll have like the Lubriderm brand, and then they'll have the Target brand, right? And the Lubriderm brand will be like $12, and the Target brand will be like $6. And it'll tell you, the Target brand will say, with the same ingredients as the Premier Lubriderm brand, right? And so you have the option of like, oh, they're the same, but this one is the brand and this one is the knockoff. And that's what happened in this moment with the shoes. It was like, well, the original ones are like $45 and the knockoffs are like 22 or something like that, right? And my mom looked at those shoes and was like, I'm not paying that kind of money for these shoes. You can't have these shoes, but you can have these shoes, the knockoff ones. And I wanted the shoes so bad. And in that moment, I agreed to the knockoff shoes. And you guys, I'm telling you, when you care about who you are and your desires enough, and you pay deep, honest attention to yourself, not like fleeting thoughts when it's convenient, but you get yourself. That's the value of being in a program that you pay for, that you have dedicated, organized time. And people, when you invest money, you pay a different level of attention. Okay. And so when I was inside of this assignment with Monica Shaw and the people who were in this assignment, I was serious. Like, I was tired of coming into these money problems and working hard, caring, knowing I want to help people, but why am I struggling with money like this? This is not okay. And when I gave my attention on purpose to this assignment, something that, like, you don't even think of these things. They're just a part of your experience, part of your story. You don't even think that they're affecting you as an adult. Something that happened when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old is making you behave in a way today. You don't even think about it. And then when you do start thinking about it, you realize how something so far removed in your history, it feels so far removed, is so energetically imprinted and in agreement with you and your life today as a 45-year-old woman or a 30-year-old woman. This shit is real. And so I remember the moment that I had this experience in 2012, that, okay, what story did I make there? Because my mom was like, I'm not paying that kind of money for them shoes. You cannot have these, but you can have these. You cannot have these more expensive ones, and what you really want. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Naima, you cannot have these more expensive ones, the ones you really want, but you can have these knockoff inferior versions. Do you see the energetic imprint that a parent doesn't even know that they're putting in their child? She didn't know she was doing that, but that's what she did. And so you know how that started to show up in my life. And you guys, I did not know this until I did this assignment. And I started to track my behavior based on this assignment and how Monica Shaw was facilitating this process. How this started to show up is, how many of you are guilty of this? As a teenager, because I agree, as a teenager, as a young woman, even when I was married, when money was not scarce, I was provided for. I was a kept woman when I got married with a very generous husband, right? Even as a in that financially liberal situation, when I would go into any retail store, I would automatically what? Go straight back to the sale rack. I wouldn't even look. It was natural. It wasn't even a conscious thought because it was so much in my unconscious automatic behavior. And it wasn't until I did this assignment where she had us track. You look, okay, what story did I create, Naima, about what this means, that you can't have this, but you can have this. The story I created was other people, because somebody buying it, right? Other people can have this stuff that they really want. You cannot. You can only have, well, hopefully this, the lesser version, the cheaper version. And so because that was so in me like that, I would automatically go to the sale rack. Okay. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to transform in this way. Okay, I'm bringing this forward. And it's going to be deep for you too. If it feels like a lot, it is. You're getting to know this deep part of yourself. And so that was my pattern for years. Other people can have what they want, but I can have what I want. So then with the Saint Tropez story, and I'm way fast forwarding. You guys have told you about the Saint Tropez, right? I see other people going. I know it can be done because people are there, right? But other people can have that. I cannot have that. Excuse me. And breaking that and making new agreements. Okay. And what we do in module 1 of More Than Enough is, what is the true desire now? When we look at where our scarcity began and we track it from when it began, 7 years old, 12 years old, and track it to where we are, where you are today, then we look at what is the desire that you have consciously or unconsciously not allowed yourself to agree with, i.e. say yes to. What have you not let yourself say yes to? So now let me bring this to what folks have been telling me in the survey that went out this week and all the emails that I've gotten from folks this week who are in my email community is this: Naima, I want to be in the arrogant rich community, but I can't afford it. I need this happen. I need some months. Just all the different ways that scarcity shows up. I want you guys to see how it's not that you can't afford it. It's your consciousness. It's scarcity consciousness. Listen, and it's okay because we're going to transform it. Okay. Naima, I've been wanting to be in the arrogant rich community since you first opened doors, and I just been having one problem after the next. Okay, that's a pattern of scarcity, or even the pattern of allowing that to be a pattern. Okay, Naima, I'm coming. I gotta pay all these other things, or I know I need this, I know I want this, but I can't afford it. Okay. Or just this, right? And this, I can't afford it. Or like me, somebody who I was in 2012, or in all the years coming up to 2012, when I would look at something and just automatically, if it felt like it cost a lot of money, if it looked like it cost a lot of money, even if I didn't know the actual price, I would be like, I can't afford that. That was my compass, my what T. Harv Eckers calls your financial thermostat, is what he calls it, your financial thermostat. And so what we will do inside of More Than Enough, which is 8 weeks, okay? So listen to me close. I'm getting ready to go into the details of the offer that's available for you. And that because I really, look, this is for the people in my community. And for those of you who I know want to be in the arrogant witch community and who I know you think it's money, you really think you don't have the money. And I get that because I was the same. You really believe like, I would like to, but I don't have the money. I'm struggling. You know what I mean? Or even for those of you who haven't emailed me, but you're telling yourself something scarce. Okay. I can feel you. All right. So this is what's happening. We start March 23rd, which is a Wednesday, not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. We start Wednesday, March 23rd. And for 8 consecutive weeks, we're going to meet inside of a private Facebook group. Okay. I'm going to go live inside of this private Facebook group to take you through the 8 modules. Okay. When you click the link with this video, you can see all the modules. Matter of fact, I can read them off to you right now. And if you're watching on Instagram, the link is in my bio, but all the details in the modules, okay? And for you to register. So let me just say the 8 weeks, what the top topics are, okay? Week 1 is true desire and looking at the origination of your scarcity story. As I told you, looking at when you first agreed to scarcity. Okay, because that is going to unlock you to connect you with the truth. When you see where you agreed to the lie, okay, you didn't know you were agreeing because you were a child, right? And children take on, oftentimes, whoever's their guardian, they take on their guardian's belief system. Okay, so you didn't know you agreed to scarcity. Okay, so you are forgiven. You can let that go, right? So looking at the origination, so you see where the lie began and you see how you have lived that lie since then, okay? And this is going to liberate you so much. Then you start to look at what is true. And this is where we go into the following week. So week 1 is true desire and the origination of your scarcity story. Week 2 is deep thinking, not passive, just, passive thinking. Right before you go to sleep, you think a little bit, but deep thinking, right? And I'm supporting you through all this. I am going to be working with you so closely because we are going to be working you through a specific, tangible, exciting result for you to achieve while you're inside of this 8 weeks, okay? So week 2 is deep thinking. Week 3 is melting fear. Remember, T. Harv Eker talked about when you have a fight, well, you will if you read his book. I'm going to have us read some books while we're inside of this 8 weeks too. His book is not one of them, although you can read the book if you like, but we're going to read other books, okay? 2 other books specifically we're going to read together while we're inside of this 8 weeks together. But fear, because when you start going into a domain you haven't been in, it triggers your thermostat, your comfort zone, okay? That's week 3. Week 4, making space. Week 5, being, not doing, okay? So powerful and important. Week 6 is choosing courage. It's a very courageous act to make the decision to have more and all that comes with having more, okay? Week 7 is the audacity to expect. The audacity to expect, okay? And our final week, week 8, is receiving rituals. So, and I feel like this process of having more, receiving more, allowing more in, there's lots of femininity involved. It's a very feminine, so much of it is the feminine arts. And so I don't want you to hold me to the order of these modules, because once we get inside and I start actually working with you, so much comes up. And sometimes it'll feel like, okay, we should probably start working on receiving in week 3 and put melting fear in week 8 or something else. So keep that in mind too. I was thinking about that as I was putting these modules together, about how feminine receptivity is, how feminine making space is, how feminine is having expectation and being, right? Doing is masculine, being is feminine, okay? So those are the modules, okay? And so, hold on, let me get back to my right screen. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to have homework from me. Okay, like the video. Okay, like the video, share the video. Okay, you are going to get homework from me, and each exercise is going to have you start to shift, sometimes in small ways, sometimes in big ways, your way of being in relation to having more. So, for example, when we get into your origination story, wait, okay, there's a lot going on here. Let me wrap up some pieces right here to help you start to begin processing, because I know processing is going to happen for you to get to a decision. So the investment, so I want you to listen to this, because I'm doing it this way to get you to act. I know how easy it is to sit in purgatory and think and wait and all right, okay. So you're gonna have time for processing, because what I'm getting ready to offer you expires midnight Eastern tonight. So you'll have from now until midnight Eastern to make a decision specifically for this offer that will expire then. Okay. So the investment for this 8-week experience is $1,500. Okay. You can split that in two if you would like to. So you would pay half today, and you would pay the other half 30 days from today. Okay. Now, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to say more, but I just want to drop this right here and say more after, right? Also, because I'm going to put this video, well, no, actually, I'm not. So, because there's another video already on the page with testimonials that I want you to look at that, because a lot of what we did in this live event I did in London, it was called More Than Enough. We did it in London in 2017. A lot of the work that we did there, I'm going to be doing with you inside of this 8 weeks. And so I want you to hear the women who had that experience with me, which was only a like 4-hour event, I think, a 4 or 5-hour event, what they experienced, and that you're going to have 8 weeks. Okay. So it's amazing. It will work. It will work. Okay. This is not hopeful work. This is not maybe work. This is not potential work. This is work that works when you work it. Okay. And I'm going to help you work it inside these 8 weeks. Okay. So the investment is $1,500. You can split that in half. Okay. There's a fee when you split it in half. You'll see all those details when you get to the page. However, when you enroll by midnight tonight, whether you do split pay or in full, when you enroll by tonight, I'm going to give you the Arrogant Witch community. Okay. I'm going to give you the Arrogant Witch community. Okay. We start March 21st in the Arrogant Witch community. Okay. So March 21st, Arrogant Witch community. March 23rd, we start meeting for More Than Enough. These are two totally separate programs, and you're going to get both when you invest today inside of More Than Enough by midnight. Okay. Now I like to sweeten the deal even more. When you pay in full the $1,500 by midnight Eastern tonight for More Than Enough, I'm also going to give you, so this was, I want this to be irresistible. So this is what I originally intended to give you when you pay in full by midnight Eastern tonight, is to give you a free cash injection call with me, private cash injection. So the value of that is, if you're already selling your services and you're looking at, maybe you're already on the phone with people. Maybe you're having people say things like, I can't afford it. Maybe you're having people waste your time. You know that there's a way of being that you're not being. There's a story that you have going on that you know that it just requires some tweaking. I'm going to give you a 30-minute cash injection call when you pay in full by midnight tonight. Okay. Actually, I'm going to give you 2 of those. My plan was to give 1, but I want to be generous. I want to make this like, oh my God, for you, where like, how could you say no? Right. And okay, so I'm going to give you 2 of those, 2 cash injection calls. They're 30 minutes a piece. I'm going to give those to you, plus the Arrogant Witch community, when you pay in full by midnight. Now, if you cannot pay in full, or you just decide whatever, right? You have it, you don't want to, or whatever, you decide you're only going to do the split pay, you're still going to get the arrogant witch community as well. Okay. So let me reiterate, when you pay in full for more than enough, this 8-week experience, which I'm getting ready to talk more about what we're doing inside of it and the value, because this is going to change your world. All right. I want to talk to you about experiences my clients have had, experiences I've had, like how this works. Okay. When you pay in full, by midnight Eastern, you're going to get everything I mentioned. You're going to get obviously more than enough. You're going to get the Arrogant Witch Community, which is the 90-day transformational program. And you're going to get the 2 cash injection calls privately with me that are going to be focused on money and you becoming more. Okay. You becoming more. Okay. When you pay the split pay, you're going to get more than enough and you're going to get the Arrogant Witch Community. Okay. When you invest by midnight tonight. Okay. Now, another thing I am giving away is there's no money. I'm giving this, what I'm getting ready to share is free. Okay. Because I like to connect more. I told you I'm going to be talking more about this period because this is, and I already know this because a big part of my career has been helping women step into power with money. So I knew this, and now with my newer list, which has more Black folk in it, supernatural folk in it, right? Same thing. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, I'm doing a more than enough, whatever you want to call it, training webinar, and that's going to happen on Zoom. I'm doing that for free. I'm going to basically run through a condensed version of all the 8-week modules. I'm going to run through a condensed version of it for free tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific. If you're already on my email list, don't worry. Details are going to go out today with the link to that. If you are not on my email list and we communicate via email, right? And you're not on my email community, on the registration page with this video, or for Instagram on the More Than Enough page, when you click the link in my bio, you can enter your name and email at the bottom of the page to join my email community, and you will get details because I'm going to send those details out later tonight for you to come into the More Than Enough webinar happening tomorrow, which is going to be on Zoom, video, like you and I, whoever's going to be there, and we're going to really get into the 8 modules for, I don't know, until as long as I feel like it. Okay. You're going to get a chance to ask me questions. You get to come with your money challenges. You can come with your scarce thinking. This is entirely free. Whether you sign up today or not, this is entirely free. What's happening tomorrow at 9 a.m. Okay. I want you to have time to and even for those of you who will sign up tonight by midnight, I want you to have the processing. Okay. I want you to have, like, you've already invested and you're preparing yourself to meet with me on the 23rd of March to do the work and to go deeper. So let me talk about how amazing, like, there's just so many things. So another book I want to recommend to you is this book. It's called The Audacity to Be Queen. The author is Gina DeVee. After I went through Monica Shaw's money program, Gina DeVee came into my world. When you are serious about growing and becoming more, people show up. The right people show up. Okay. And Gina DeVee came into my world, and she was, I believe, the first coach who I'd heard about the feminine art of receiving, of the blending of spirituality and money in a way that I was like, wow, because I get that from a lot of Black women who are spiritually inclined, whether they identify as supernatural or not. And there's a reconciliation that's required because there's a disconnect internally typically because of spiritual, not spiritual, but religious programming of like somehow spirituality and money don't go together. There's a war around that. And Gina DeVee, who is a multiple seven-figure, she was a business coach, and now her thing is femininity and like the feminine arts, right? The audacity to be queen. Paying attention to her. I've been in her program before. I've gone, she had an event in Italy. No, was it Italy? Yeah, Florence I went to, and then she had an event in Miami I went to years ago. And it was studying with her that I further got a chance to really start to get into living a desire-based life, where instead of living a life based on price tags, like you see something you want, well, let me see the price. And that controls your decision. Let me see the price first. Like, how does that feel? Like you see something you want, well, let me see the price first. I can't afford that, right? How does that feel versus seeing something that you desire, or even you don't even need to see it because it's so much in your heart. So you see it in your heart, right? And that alone is like, gosh, living on the pulse of that, living on the pulse of your heart's desire, and letting that govern your decision making, letting that govern how you live your life. Like, which one will you choose? Which one? Okay. I'll speak for myself, okay? Because I know this intimately. Well, let me look at the price tag first. And the scarcity, like the tightness of that, the enslavement of living like that. Thank you for the likes, you guys. Keep the likes coming. The enslavement of, well, let me look at the price tag versus the expansion that happens. The expansion that happens when you're like, how do I create this in my life? Right? You've tapped into a desire, and it seems like it's so far off from your comfort zone or what you're capable of creating. And like, that's some of the emails that I've gotten, is this sort of like, I want to do it, but how do I really do it? Like, gosh, Naima, this is amazing and wonderful, but oh my God, like it feels so far removed from your reality. The money, the man, the divine mastery in Italy, the house of your dreams, the whatever is of your heart's desire, because it's personal, your heart's desire. And allowing yourself to really live into that. And so I'm thinking of a new story. It was so many. Give me a minute. I'm thinking of there's so many stories about living from desire versus living from scarcity. I want you to really feel what it could be like for you. So um, I'm going to share this story again because maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. Um, and it's a money story. This applies in so many areas, but the real way of being behind it is what matters. The way of being, because remember on week 5, we go into being versus doing. Okay, being more versus doing, and then I think in week 7 we go into the audacity to expect, the audacity of expectation. I had, as soon as I learned about high ticket offers as a coach, instantly I was like, that's for me. I didn't know details and all that. I was still rookie level, right? I think the first time I heard about it too was through Gina and she was talking about high ticket offerings, the feminine way. and wealth consciousness. And also, too, she was the first person who used the words she's the first person I heard say it in the coaching space, wealth consciousness. And I knew it was for me, and like, but still, right? Like how you guys are emailing me, like, I know this is for me, but really, like, how does this work? Come on now, right? So I know exactly how you feel when it feels so, like, as T. Harv Eker says, something that feels way above your financial thermostat. So like out of your league, this is out of your league, and how that feels and how that feeling will stop you from saying yes to the big thing. And so I remember what I would do in my scarcity, and this was even after doing the Monica Shaw work, because even after you come into awareness of something, there's still the work to create a new normal in your reality, which is a practice. You start to get into experiences that change it, because it's not in the head only. Yes, mental, yes, thoughts, yes, repetition. But if it's not in your being as true, the way the scarcity is in your being as true, then you'll be constantly doing what you see a lot of people do in manifestation, where they manifest something big, but then it's dry for months thereafter. They don't sustainably create plenty, right? You do like I actually did do when I became aware of the scarcity, but I didn't do the reprogramming. Is this feast or famine thing I would do, where I would have money, then I wouldn't have money. I'd get a big chunk of money, and then I'd not have money for 3 months. And right? Anybody familiar with that? Hi, Charleston. Thank you. Right? Anybody familiar with that? So that was me. Um, and so there was that. And then those of you who are emailing me like, Naima, I know, you're getting premonitions and spirit told you and all that. But what's happening is your mind, which is very scarce, is having a hard time actually taking an action from a higher position because it's still very much locked into scarcity. So because of that, and I was doing that, I would make money goals in my business, and the stretch that was required, the being in my wealth consciousness, being in a spirit and a being of expectation, and getting into ritual to prepare me to receive, right? That's why week 8 is about rituals. Inside of the 8-week More Than Enough, week 8 is about rituals and receiving, okay? Rituals of receiving, rituals of receiving, rituals of receiving. And getting into habits in small ways of receiving compliments, receiving attention. You're at the grocery store, somebody looks at you too long and you get swelled up with, suspicion, or you look away, or all the little ways you don't let yourself receive compliments, help, any kind of prolonged attention. You're not open to receiving feedback. You're not open to receiving somebody else's heart. You're not open to receiving the people in your world, right? When you listen to them, you listen just to respond. You don't listen to actually receive their words and be present with their words. There's all kind of ways that you can engage in rituals to prepare yourself to start to receive, because money is not separate from every other way that you receive, okay? And so when it will come time for me to get into real feminine relationship with money, because this process of becoming more, receiving, space, desire, expectation, all that is feminine. Feminine. And so we think work, 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 go do Facebook Lives. Let me speak for myself. That's what I thought. Work hard, go do lives, do networking events, get on the phone with people, give people stuff, be nice, be good, be generous, show up, do the work, be consistent, show up. And that was easy for me. The deeper work that requires attention, that requires slowing down, that requires deep thinking, which we do in week 2, which requires, okay, what is my origination story? When did I first agree to scarcity? And really thinking into that, writing that out, then tracing like yourself from 10 years old to 20 years old. Where have you acted out this pattern in your life? This is the work, darling, to come into more, having more. And you have more by being more, being available to receive more. So I would do this feast or famine back and forth. And I would make financial goals. And then when I couldn't get there or seemed like I wasn't going to get there, I would back down, make the number smaller. Well, my goal is 20,000 this month, but oh God, I've tried and it's not, so never mind. Maybe now's not the time. Oh, that was ridiculous for me to think I could do that. And that's what I did before I got into wealth consciousness, the wealth consciousness that you're going to get into over this 8 weeks. Then I got tired. Like some, right? I just got tired. I just got so tired of wanting more and saying I can't afford it. I got so tired of living in a scarce state. I got so tired of these knee-jerk, or even lying. I used to lie to people. Like I would get invited to go somewhere that costs money, out to eat, somewhere to travel. And I would be like, oh girl, I'm busy that weekend. Or whatever. I would lie. And the truth was I didn't have the money. And I don't know about y'all, but listen, well, I do know because y'all are telling me. For a long time, I let that be okay. I let that be okay because my origination story was other people can have what they want, but Naima cannot have what she wants. You see why it's so important for you to know, when did you start agreeing to scarcity? When did you start agreeing? Because you keep telling yourself you can't afford it. Hi. You keep telling yourself you can't afford it. You keep telling yourself that's not for you. You keep sitting, waiting for somebody to come save you. You keep waiting in this lull, like something miraculous is going to happen. And all you got to do is sit there and pray and money just going to drop in your bank account. That's scarcity consciousness. And you have it, you just don't know where it started. So you don't even know how to go to the root, pull that shit up, and then plant abundance, plant expectation of more. High T world of everything, how to plant tapping into true desire, how to plant clarity of what it is that you truly desire, how to plant receiving, how to plant your next trip, how to plant your dream home, how to plant your investment to come into this and that, or whatever it is you will really, as TD Jakes say, a lot of y'all, all y'all need is one big check to solve a lot of your problems. A lot of y'all, it's just one big check that you need, right? So I'm telling you, right? This was me. And so it was 2015, this is in me forever because it changed my world. It changed my world. I said, you know what? I'm tired of this up and down with money. I'm making money, but it ain't steady. I should be making more. I can't believe I'm still only making this money. So I said, I want to do $50,000 in a month. And some of y'all have already heard this story. Okay. So if you've already heard it, you're going to hear it again. I was like, I'm going to do $50,000 this month. Now, this wasn't the first time I got all like, I'm doing 20,000, right? I'm doing a big number. And had abandoned the number so many times. And so what happened this time is I started aggressively and actively, the same way you're going to be inside of this 8 weeks. And I don't mean, it's not like, when I say aggressive, I don't mean in any kind of way that's going to exhaust you, because there's a lot of femininity around this work. I just mean you're deliberate, your attention is on it, you mean it, you're serious, you have a specific goal, and this is your focus. Whether your goal is $10,000 in 8 weeks, whether your goal is to book your flight to Hawaii within 8 weeks, whether your goal is to create the money to give your husband something, whether your desire is to book, I don't know, a trip for you and your mom, something for your kids, something for you, you want to go on a stay, right? That you're going to have a clear, exciting, achievable, a tangible goal that you are working to achieve while we are in this 8 weeks of more than enough together, okay? I started engaging in wealth consciousness work. A lot of what you are going to engage in, the same work that I did to achieve what I'm getting ready to share with you, is the same work that you're going to do over this 8 weeks, okay? Like I told you, we're going to be reading these books together. I started engaging in these rituals of receiving. Rituals of receiving, where it be little things you do to start to prepare yourself to have more, receive more, allow more in. And month one of doing this wealth consciousness work and saying, I'm doing $50,000 in a month, nothing happened. I keep on doing my wealth consciousness work. And in this time, my patterns kept coming to me. You're asking for too much. Why are you doing this? You've never even done 20,000. Scarcity, 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 scarcity. And I was like, no, I'm committed to this. No, I do not agree to stay in scarcity. No, I do not agree to stay in scarcity. Remember Monday, I talked so much about agreeing, disagreeing. No, I do not. It was an attack on my mind. I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich. And at that time, it was either Sacred Success or Think and Grow Rich, one of the two. But I know for sure The Science of Getting Rich was a big one I was reading. The Science of Getting Rich. Month two comes. I'm still doing the wealth consciousness work. I'm still marketing. I didn't do $50,000. Month three comes. I'm continuing to do the wealth consciousness work. And now I'm more in the spirit of expectation. I'm more in the spirit of expectation now. Now I'm like, where is the money? Now, this is a very different energy. This is such a big deal, which is why it is one of the modules inside of More Than Enough, the 8 weeks for the spirit of expectation, getting it, like truly expecting, not hoping, not maybe, not I'm trying my best, but you truly are expecting. Like the same way you book a Uber and the thing tells you that your Uber gonna be there in 8 minutes and you thoroughly expect your Uber to be here in 8 minutes, or even if they're a little late, you expect your Uber to come. You have no doubt that your Uber is coming, right? That's the kind of expectation energy that you're going to be developing inside this 8 weeks, okay? When you expect, the thing shows up, and anything in you as far as sight or something for you to do, it'll come into your awareness because you're expecting. And anywhere where you're blocking the thing from coming in, oh, you need to clean this. Oh, you need to call that person. Oh, you need to get rid of this. Oh, you need to say that. The spirit of expectation opens things up. And this is the thing you just got to be in and experience to know, okay? I know this is long-winded, but it's nuanced. Like and that's why it's 8 weeks, and that's why I'm gonna go deep, because this is what it is, okay? Month 4. Here we go. Now, the reason why I could be in a spirit of expectation is because, one, I was doing the work. And what happens when you do the work is that your confidence and your way of being, which is why one of the modules is called Being versus Doing. What happens is when you do the work, you know you're doing the work. So there's a part of you that feels like you deserve. Okay? When you're not doing the work, you have a hard time holding expectation, because in the back of your mind, you don't even feel like you deserve it, because you're like, I'm not doing the work. That's why you guys' Bible talks about faith without works. Okay? Faith without works is dead. Works is action. Okay? When you have been doing this wealth consciousness work and you are doing the homework assignments that I'm giving you, and you're connecting with other women, and you guys are actively doing this work, there's a part of you that's like, where's my result for what I'm doing? That's the expectation. Where is my result for what I'm doing? Where is my result? Where is my result? You'll start consciously and unconsciously. So that's how I was in month 3 and 4. Where is my money? Where is my 50,000? Girl, ain't even done 20,000 in a month. I'm talking about, where is my 50,000? That's a spirit of expectation that comes over you. Okay. Gina DeVee, multiple 7-figure wealth femininity coach, talks about miracles at the, what does she calls it? At the final hour, miracles in the final hour, where you working for something, and it appears like it's not going to happen. And that at the final hour, it comes through. So here we are I'm working, 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 working. And this wasn't literally the final hour, but it felt like it, right? I'm doing this wealth consciousness work. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Okay. I have a client that I've been working with. Okay. And she has gotten beautiful results. And at this time, I was helping women heal sexual trauma. She was telling me things like, Naima, I've been seeing a therapist for a decade, and I've gotten more from you in these last few months than I got working with that therapist for 10 years. Okay. Right. And I was loving working with her. She was a dream client in so many ways. Okay. And as we were coming up to the end of our contract, I was like, gosh, I would love to keep working with this woman. Now, I hadn't thought this before to continue working with a client because she wasn't the first client I had worked with who had gotten wonderful results. My thought of working with her, and then I had the thought, and the most abundant thought I had ever had in my coaching business up until then. Why do I have this abundant thought? Because I have been doing the wealth consciousness work. So I started thinking bigger than I had ever thought before. So for the first time in my coaching business, this was in 2015. I started coaching at the end of 2011. I told you guys, my first paying client was at the end of 2011. And here I am in 2015, years later, for the first time, thinking to work with a client for a year. That was an abundant thought to work with her for a year, to do $50,000 in a month, to even sit down, right, and write it out. So what did I do? I sat down and I wrote it out. Wow, what would it look like to work with this woman for a year? You guys, I had never done this before. We're gonna work together for a year. She's gonna have a VIP day. I think it was once a quarter. She's gonna have this many calls. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and do that. And when I added it all up, a la carte, it was $65,000. Then I added some stuff, or it might have even been more. And then I think I did 65 because it was just a year and it was so much. I mean, I had this whole abundant package. It was just more than ever. Like, I was just like, I was on some other shit, y'all. I'm telling y'all, this stuff works. So anyway, now I want you to really see this, okay? I've never made more than $10,000 in a month in my coaching business. At the time, I was going back and forth living between my sister's house and my mom's house. My income was still feast or famine at the time. And I was making money, but it was like make more money and less money, more money, less money. I was still working with clients. I was still making money, but it was boring, right? And I know a lot of people might think that's wonderful, but it wasn't wonderful when you know that you deserve more and ready for more and want more. So she and I are like on our third to the last call, because we were at the end of a 6-month contract. We're on our like third to the last call. And I'm like, let's say her name is Lisa, right? So Lisa, we know we've so enjoyed working with each other. And I've been thinking about what it would look like for you and I to work together for another year. I mean, you've gotten so many wonderful results over this time. Would you like to have a conversation about what it would look like to work together for the next year? And she's like, absolutely. She's like, she reiterated, I've gotten so much value and I'm so appreciative of you. And for those of you who work with clients, right, who get results and they share, right, how wonderful it is to work with you. So I had already written everything down. So I got the paper here in front of me, right, because I had already decided I was going to present this to her. So I lay it out to her. So I see us working together for the next year. Boom, boom, boom. I lay it all out. VIP day, once a quarter, everything that was in the package, I laid it out to her. And I said, the investment for this is going to be $65,000. Now, I'm back and forth between my mom's and my sisters at the time. My money is like this. I had never made more than $10,000 in my business, right? I'm new, meaning for the last 4 months is the first time I'm like deliberately focused on expanding my wealth consciousness and becoming more. Here I am offering this woman a $65,000 package. Now, logically, as you guys are making your decisions to make investments in the arrogant witch community and different things, logically, you're like, I can't afford that. Because to you, it's like, well, the arrogant witch community is $3,000. So I checked my bank account and I do not have $3,000 in my bank account. Therefore, it is true that I cannot afford the arrogant witch community, right? So if I would have took that thinking and applied it to this with this woman, one, ain't no way in the world I would have put a $65,000 price tag on it. I wouldn't have offered that. I wouldn't have thought a year. What? Right? What am I going to even do in a whole year? Like, didn't we do it all already? You know what I'm saying? What am I going to do inside of a city? Because this is how y'all think, because you already know, right? What am I going to do for $65,000? Like, who even has that kind of money? Like, what, girl, logically, that's what the mind does. Logic. Wealth consciousness is not of your logical thought. It's of the miraculous, or what some of you, if you don't like the word miraculous, the infinite. Okay. Read The Science of Getting Rich. That'll clean you up right there. That's one book we will, inside of this structured 8 weeks, we will read it together. It's going to be organized. There's accountability. So the structure will help you follow through. And also having the exciting goal will have you follow through. So get The Science of Getting Rich, okay? I said the investment for that is going to be $65,000 without missing a beat. This lady was like, okay. I said, so how you pay for that is you pay $35,000 today and you pay the balance tomorrow. And that's exactly what she did. In that moment, you guys, okay, that woman paid $35,000 with her credit card. The next day, she paid the balance. Within 48 hours, I had $65,000, and then minus the fees, she paid through PayPal, so minus the fees, $65,000 minus fees was in my bank account. If I was not engaging like homework, like clockwork, deliberately, if I was not engaging in wealth consciousness work, if I had not tracked where my scarcity story came from, if I had not made a solid goal, tangible, solid, exciting goal, which was $50,000. The goal was 50. I did 65. Had I not had that exciting, tangible goal, had I not been doing wealth consciousness work, had I not committed to the goal, had I not stuck with it and followed through, I would not have done that $65,000. And this is what will happen. So yes, the money was fucking amazing. Clearly, right? You want $65,000 in your bank account or $65,000 minus fees? Yeah, right? Yes, that's wonderful. But here's the best part to me, right? For those of you who are looking for long-term money, not just a hit, not just a drop of money, you're looking for consistent long-term money, okay? What happens when you reach a goal that before was outside of your financial comfort zone? Remember, T. Harv Eker talk about your financial thermostat is your financial comfort zone. And that whenever you go any way or down, you're going to be fucked up, or you go up too high, it's going to throw you off, right? Whenever you create a new financial reality that's way higher, to me, 65,000 was way like, it wasn't like I just made 2,000 more than I'm used to making. Because like, for those of you who make $50,000 a year right now, right? Or whatever amount you make right now. If you were to make 5,000 more, you won't feel anything much. It'd be nice and yeah, but you won't be like, oh, I've revolutionized my life. I'm changing $5,000 more this year. My life has changed, unless it is, right? But for most of us, no, right? But if your normal annual income is 50,000 and you do 200,000, and not just because your boss gave you a raise, like somebody gave it to you, but because you actually expanded your receiving, your way of being, your relationship with money, which means you've literally built up a muscle, which means nobody can give that to you, nobody can take it away, which means it's repeatable. Okay. When you create a financial, for the first time, right? Because you keep doing it, right? But the first time, for me, this was the first time. So I can speak, I know what this looks like and feels like, and then to subsequently keep doing that, right? When you break your financial thermostat for the first time, there's a confidence that you get that only money can give you. You know, there are confidence coaches, there's all these little things you can do to make you feel good and raise your self-esteem and you know, right, all the things you can do to, like, I did it. Yes. To help you get your confidence up, right? And I had done those things, right, to get the confidence up. And there's still a way that when you start dealing with a tangible thing like money, when you're not used to receiving money, there's still a way that even if you do all these confidence boosting things and these things that help your self-esteem, that you still are not ready to receive money. There's a value associated with money that has its own medicine. And so what happens is when you, for the very first time, for those of you who are coaches and healers and doulas and medicine women, and let's say you've been charging $100 an hour, or you've been charging $200 or whatever you've been charging, right? And you, for the very first time, make $1,000 for your doula services or your healing services. The very first time you do, and 1,000, I don't know, that whatever the number is that would give you that like undeniable, like it's undeniable because the money's in your bank account, right? Let's say 5,000 for you, right? Let's say 10,000 is the number for you. And you do that and your clients get results, because that woman, I got so many testimonials from this woman around healing sexual trauma, okay? And then they get these amazing results from you. And she already was giving me testimonials before she even invested at that level. So when you have that kind of money come into your bank account and you look at it, there's a confidence you give that none of my videos can give you, that no like motivational tape or CD or whatever no dream can do. Because when that money is in your bank account, that is hard cash. That is hard evidence that you got it, that what you have is valuable, that people will pay for what you have. Because that's a lot of what's lingering in the background is people will pay for this. Can I really do this? So it's like you're borrowing confidence. You're borrowing confidence for a while. I'm talking so much. I feel like I'm already in session. I made this 8 weeks, right? Because I was talking about doing a 5-day challenge and all of that. Fine. Okay. And I might even still do that because I'm going to be talking about this for a while. But I started working on this stuff the first time I did that money exercise with Monica Shaw in 2012. Okay. And I ended up crossing, like after that, what I said, when you, here's another thing, benefit is, because I don't think I finished the thought, is that you can't go, it's very hard to go back. When you make money like that, it's very hard to go back and believe your scarcity story and hang out there. When I tell you, after I did that, I was like, I ain't never going back. Girl, listen, I was like, I ain't never going back. And from there, I went on to consistent 5-figure months. I got myself, when I said this stuff works, you know, I was following Gina DeVee all the time. I was reading Science of Getting Rich. I started reading Sacred Success, A Course in Financial Miracles. I started making it a habit to say, and I did a video maybe 2 weeks ago about y'all who keep saying, or, well, I can have this, or I can have that, versus making your way of being be a, and I can have this and this, not this or this. That's a way of being. You want red wine or white wine. I want both. And in the beginning, just doing it for the subconscious. You might not even want red and white. Take them both just to start working your wealth consciousness. You want to go to Paris or you want to go to Tokyo? I want to go to Paris and Tokyo. One of the things that I did to start to work this into my system in 2015 is my birthday. Okay. Remember, I told you in 2015, I started getting serious about this like never before. And I booked a trip to Paris. I booked a trip to Paris. And I wanted to go to Rome. And I was like, Naima, you gonna go to Paris or you gonna go to Rome? And when your attention is on a goal, especially a money goal, money, travel, these things we love, and you are paying attention to your thinking because you're inside of a structured environment, you're paying attention to how your automatic thoughts. Girl, let's go to Maui. Maui, girl, I ain't got that kind of wait a minute. No, I'm working on wealth consciousness. Somebody say, you want this or you want that, and you like and you pick one. You know how people come with you with these if you had to choose between this and that, which one would you choose? And you're like and you actually play that game of only one, and you no, I'm not playing that game. I'm in the game of and so I caught myself, Paris or Rome, and I was like, you're doing more, Naima. You're going to Paris and Rome. I have the pictures with me with my natural hair, little afro, because I started in Paris and then went down to Rome. This was before the $65,000 client. This was while I was actively, for them 4 months, from January to when I got that 65. Maybe it started in February, but it was 4 months. Like rituals of receiving, practicing more the spirit of expectation, more than enough. This stuff works, you guys. This is not me like hoping this for you. Everybody who lives scarce, $7 in my bank account on my mama couch, blah, blah, blah. I've told you to. Anybody who goes from that kind of shit into even 6 figures, there's a story of wealth consciousness behind it. Okay. So, but what has to happen though is you gotta at least believe and then step in and then take all the actions. I love you guys so much. I feel like I'm, want to keep on going and I will inside of the 8 weeks. And we're going to go tomorrow, like I said, 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow on Zoom. You're going to get the link. If you're already on my community email list, you're going to get the link later today. And if you're not on my email community, at the bottom of the registration page for More Than Enough, enter your email and you'll get the details. And we're going to be on Zoom, on video, going through the 8 modules. Okay, so look at the link with this video to see the modules. On Instagram, the link is in my bio. Okay. We are going to go through the 8 modules. Bring your questions. Start thinking about it tonight. Like, what's your money challenges? What's your pattern? Have you discovered your pattern? What do you want to overcome? What's your big goal? What is the amount of money that if you receive this in 8 weeks, it will change your life? It will be meaningful to you. It will be helpful to you and somebody in your family, somebody you love and care about. What will you be able to invest in when you make this money? Like them kind of questions, right? What are your fears? You worried your family gonna think you an ATM? You worried about looking greedy? That was one of mine. Worried about looking greedy. You worried that people are not gonna like you. You worried that somehow having more is gonna isolate you from people. Are you concerned about managing money? Can I even manage more money? And do I deserve? And am I worth it? And what am I even going to do with a client for $10,000? And where are the people who even invest at that level? And girl, all of them. I done heard all of them, right? People gonna think I'm a fraud if I charge that kind of money. And how does this work? And what do I even put in a $10,000 package? And shit, how am I taxed on that? I don't want to give Uncle Sam all my money. Right? Girl. And that's just the stuff When we do this wealth consciousness work, all the stuff you didn't even know was there comes up. Like I didn't know that story of that I had created in my unconscious. Other people can have what they want, but I can't have what I want. I didn't even know that was running my show. I didn't even know that was running my show. So you can do it. You decide to do it. Okay. We're going to be reading books. I'm going to be holding you accountable, loving you. You be responsible. And I want this for you so much, so much. And I know you can do it. You just got to believe in yourself because I can't do it for you. I can help you do the work, but you got to take the step. So go ahead and make the investment to get everything by midnight with the offer that I made. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 9 a.m. inside of the More Than Enough webinar. Lots of love.